Have you ever met anybody who has been to 7 different primary schools? Now today you have met. I went to 7 different primary schools and 2 high schools. Someone would have, I know you, many of you would start thinking, hey, Wani, the fellow stayed for 32 years in primary. No. During our time, we used to have 7 classrooms in a primary, standard 1 to 7. So I spent 8 years in primary school. That is, I only repeated 1 classroom, but I went to 7 different classrooms, 7 different schools. As for high school, I went to 2 different schools. Allow me to start with my high schools. During our time, we had 2 different schools of post-primary. We had secondary schools and we had high schools. But one thing I've noticed, there are 2 schools that neither called themselves high school nor secondary school. One of them was Lenana School. Do you know that Lenana has always called itself Lenana School? The other one I've forgotten, but I'll remember maybe as we talk. During our days, the schools that ended up in Form 4, Form 1 to Form 4, used to be called secondary school. Private schools would add themselves to be high schools just for marketing purposes. They even had names which wanted to look like government schools for the matter of marketing. For example, we had a school called Reliance High School. Reliance High School. They wanted to sound as if the Alliance. Then we had another one called Bungoma Town High School. It wanted to confuse people with Bungoma High School and so on and so on. But in general, the schools that had Form 1 to Form 4 were called secondary school. And the schools that had Form 1 to Form 6 were called high school. Because many of you say, I went to such and such school for my high school, but the certificate you came out with was Kenya's Certificate of Secondary Education. High school is Form 5 and Form 6. Now, the new syllabus is bringing back, because secondary will be called junior school and high school will be called senior school. Now you know. But funny enough, my secondary certificate is from a school called Technical High School. And my A-level certificate is from a school called Bungoma Secondary School. Now, my secondary certificate is written from a high school, and my high school certificate is from a secondary school. I'll explain that. Technical High School Nairobi had Form 1 to Form 6. It had Form 1 to Form 6 technical subjects. Form 1 to Form 4 technical subjects. But Form 5 and Form 6, there was only one combination. It was a science stream doing maths, physics, and chemistry. MPC, manpower combination, they used to say, they used to boast. Now, I did my secondary at Technical High School, Nairobi. So you find that my secondary certificate is written Technical High School, Nairobi, because the school had an A-level stream. From there, I went to Bungoma High. Actually, I was to go to Upper Hill. Yes, the other school I said, which had no name, is Upper Hill School. You find that Lenana is called Lenana School and Upper Hill is just called Upper Hill School. There's no secondary, there is no high school. I was to go to Upper Hill School for my A levels to do maths, geography, and economics. But Mr. Naswa, who was the headmaster of Bungoma High School, convinced Mr. Igobwa. Igobwa was the head teacher for Upper Hill. During the Form 5 selection, he convinced him that I should go to Bungoma High. They used to select manually. Now, I went to Bungoma High for my A levels, but my certificate reads Bungoma Secondary School. Bungoma, that school has three names. Has three names. When we went there, I went there for my A levels. It had just started its A level. We were the third class. The class for 1981, 82, no, 80, 81. The A level class for 80, 81 was the third one. The class for 79, 80. So they started A level classes in 1978. The first people to go for Form 5 was 1978. So at the examination council, at the East African Examination Council, the school was still known as Bungoma Secondary. So it was in the process of changing its name. Later on, all certificates from the very same school are Bungoma High School. But for us who are pioneers, our certificates read Bungoma Secondary School. But then it is also known as Bungoma Boys. So it is a school that previously was Bungoma Secondary, it is Bungoma High, it is also known as Bungoma Boys. So those are the 2 years. I can call it 1.5 because during our time, from 5 and 6, it was 1.5 years. Now to primary. I said I've been to 7 different primary schools for 8 years. Let us count. Maybe it would be more than 7 or less than 7. I went to standard 1, first term and second term, to a school called Ziwani Primary School in Mombasa. Ziwani Primary School in Mombasa. And there's a time around 1990 something, 1997, 95, 96 there. I went there and went to the school and told the school teacher that I used to school here, and the teacher told me, no, you have never been here. And I was shocked. So the teacher told me, no, you have come to the one school for the deaf, and this normal school is there. He showed me. They are neighboring. There are 2 schools, one for the deaf, one for the normal people. I went to the one primary school for the normal for term 1 and term 2. Then my father was transferred to Nakuru. Nakuru, I went to a school called Nakuru West Primary School. We used to stay near near Everready. Now, if you ask me if you near Everready, I did stay in Bangladesh. No, the Bangladesh slums. No, but my father being the third most senior police officer in Nakuru County, we stayed in a good house along the highway to Uganda. I went to that school for 1 term. Then, for reasons that I didn't know, but I later came to know, police officers are transferred regularly. I was taken home to a school called Matete Primary School. I used to walk to Matete Primary School. I know people who come from my place will be shocked how I used to foot from my home to Matete Primary School. But what today is called St. Mukasa, or nowadays it's called Chimoi Primary, it used to be called Matete Primary. Then later at Matete itself, they constructed a primary school and called this one Chimoi or even St. Mukasa Primary School. So The third school, the first one was the first one was Ziwani in Mombasa. The second one was Nakuru West. The third one, the third school was Matete, which today is called St. Mukasa, along the highway, the accident spot of Kaburengu Chimoi. Then the fourth school, my father was then transferred to Kajiado as the OCPD. So I went, uh, St. Mukasa, I went there for standard 2 first term. Standard 2 first term. Then standard 2 second term, and standard 2 third term, I went to PBS, primary, no, not PBS, Township Primary School. Yes, I went to Township Primary School, Kajiado, for my second term and the third term, standard 2. There is something I noticed during my standard 2 which I wanted to share with you, is that in Maasai land, and that is what also General Ngaisere went through, standard 2 used to come in the afternoon and utilize the classroom for standard 1. So, first school, Ziwani Primary School. Second, Nakuru West. Third, St. Mukasa, using the local name. Fourth, Township Primary School for 2 terms. Term 2, term 3, standard 2. Then in standard 3, my father was transferred to Wajir. So we had to go to boarding schools. So standard 3, first term, second term, and third term, I went to PBS, Primary Boarding School, Kajiado. Primary Boarding School, Kajiado was my 5th school, and standard 3. I was sick. I was sick with the TB and also climate. That the third term of standard 3 was spent in the ward at Kajiado Referral Hospital. By then it used to be called Kajiado District Hospital. So I repeated standard 3 because I was the whole of third term I was in the hospital, and I made a mistake of trying to do the exams. I should not have done the exam. Those days, the last quarter, if you are 20 in class, number 16 to 20 must repeat. So if I would not have done the third term exam, I would have been promoted on merit. But since I did it, I think I was number last. So I repeated standard 3. So I repeated standard 3 in PBS, but sickness continued for the whole year, the repeat standard 3, and first term standard 4. So that is my 5th school. My 6th school, because I was always sick, I had to be removed from that school to local home, Luandeti DEB Primary School, where I went there for standard 4, third term, second and third term, standard 4, and standard 5, January. Standard 5, January. That is my 6th school. My 7th and final school was Mbagathi Road Primary School next to Mbagathi Hospital. That area has hospitals. There is, let me not count the hospitals. So, the 7th and last school was Mbagathi Road Primary School, where I went there in February, standard 5. Stayed there standard 6, standard 7. The other secondary post-primary I have already talked. And that is how I ended up being in 7 primary schools in 8 years.